on the political side, I really believe kasi, and this might be self-serving, but ako naman, I guess this is the right time to say that. I really believe the early initiatives to look into lifting term limits, no, might be something that we should study. Like I said, study. Kasi parang every 3 years, the country goes into an election, that's true. But yeah, like I said, tama yun, mag-election tayo. Pero when I say na term limits, parang there's a counter effect to putting limits. It breeds, and I can say this, it breeds more dynasties in the making. Because you don't, turn out ka na, you would want to put somebody in your stead. It's also parang people are finding workarounds the term limits anyway. So we might as well revisit it. Number 2, if you look at the United States, their congressmen are elected every 2 years, but walang limit yung term nila. And I think the rationale behind that is you learn over your experience in any position naman, stock knowledge or institutional knowledge comes with it. Let me categorize that. I'm always for elections. Okay ako na every 3 years may election. Yan, baka na-confuse kayo sa sinasabi ko. Pero sinasabi ko lang, dapat walang term limit in the sense na, number 1, people are finding workarounds around it anyway, and the ill effect of that is dynasties. And the worst part of it all nga, in dynasty pa nga, is sometimes you get a disinterested family member who is just put there to bench warm, so to speak. Mabuti sana nga kung yung nanalo yung interesado rin. But we have cases wherein nilagay na lang kasi nilagay lang para lang makabalik yung isa. Tapos babalik rin naman. So in effect, umikot lang tayo. Number 2, institutional knowledge. The greatest democracy in the world, the US, yes, they're a more mature democracy, but I'd like to think Filipinos are starting to get there. Stock knowledge and learning the rope, from my experience as mayor, took me a couple of years to hone in. I still don't know everything, pero I'd like to think I'm a more knowledgeable person in local government practicing now than I was, let's say, 4 years ago. So same goes with Congress. Parang the policy chops or the policy know-how comes with experience. So maybe for 3 years you learn, 3 years you learn, and then over time you get more experience. So your policy chops, diba, it gets better. So yun akin, the disappearing institutional knowledge because now of term limits. And last but not the least, we always say na incumbency kasi has its built-in advantage, so you have to put a limit in it. Pero to be honest with you, now with the advent of social media, with the advent of people with media watching over local officials or public officials, incumbency is no longer a bulletproof vest. We get incumbents losing more and more every election, even in the national level. So you cannot say that you'll enjoy all the power of incumbency as a foolproof vest anymore. Maybe noon, oo, but now people are more critical of their elected officials or the incumbent officials. Kasi nga, social media and citizen activism and advocacy is becoming more pronounced now because of social media. So you get elected officials voted out of office. Like last election lang, last midterm, you saw a lot of local officials who have been entrenched in their localities get swept out of office. So I really believe that the argument that there must be term limits because the power of incumbency is strong, it's an advantage. Yes, it's an advantage, but yes, it's an equal disadvantage also. So parang the times have changed when the law was created or the term limit concept was created. Maybe it's about time we study and visit it. And I presented 3 arguments why I'm for lifting term limits, but ako in term, you can keep it at 3 years, but just remove the term limits. I always believe naman that there must be a referendum done. Sa states nga, every 2 years ang congressman nila eh. So I think 3 years is a fair number, but you must be able to put yourself in the ballot. As long as the people wants you, then you can go back. Diba?